Yo, what's going on people? It's your boy Huncho, back at you again with another video. So, as a lot of you will know by now, I am expanding the street news, of course, looking to cover a bunch of different places around the UK. I've got a list of places that I'm looking into daily, and if you want to add to that list, let me know where you want to see down in the comment section below. Of course, there isn't always stories that I can find from these smaller places, so I will be putting videos out that are from bigger cities, because literally I can't find any stories from there. I am still covering those certain places though, so don't feel like I'm not doing it. But with that being said, today I have to report that 6 people have been stabbed in separate incidents across Birmingham. So this all started yesterday morning, where it was said that 4 people had been stabbed during a large scale disorder. At 4:40 AM yesterday, a man was left seriously injured after being stabbed on Great Hampton Street in the Jewellery Quarter. A part of the major road near Vice Street was closed off by police for more than 7 hours while they investigated the incident. On top of the 1 man who's been seriously injured, it was said that 3 more were in fact stabbed as a result of the fight, which was thought to have involved up to 15 people. A West Midlands police spokesperson said, "We received several reports of disorder at 4:40 AM on the 22nd of August 2020 around Great Hampton Street near Vice Street in Birmingham. It's understood that up to 15 people may have been involved. At least 4 people suffered stab injuries, including 1 man who is seriously ill in hospital. 1 man aged 24 has been arrested on suspicion of wounding and remains in police custody." The next incident took place around 6 hours later, roughly at about 11 AM, where it was said that a knife man had allegedly threatened to kill people inside a mini market on Washwood Heath Road. The man was said to have started to wave a knife around outside the shop, and that's when the shop worker Heath dialed 999, but as he was on the phone to the police, the knife man was said to have walked into the shop, continuing to wave the knife around, and then purchased a drink. The shopkeeper calmly served him, while quietly still on the phone to police because he didn't want to alarm the man. A short while later, armed police would attend the scene and police dogs would track his scent to a nearby park, where they would go on to arrest a 25-year-old man, and he remains in police custody. Shop worker Mr. Kadir would go on to say the person, who was local, had a knife and he said he wanted to kill someone. He came shouting and said words which I couldn't understand. He came to my shop, picked up a drink and paid as normal. I was on the phone to the police at the time. I was quiet because I didn't want them to hear. I told the officers he was inside the shop. The man then left the shop and walked past the row of shops. The police car went past and someone stopped the car. They were pointing towards the park and then the police caught him. Superintendent Jack Hadley said this was a very dynamic incident and it was important that we got officers to the scene to apprehend the man and protect the public. Thankfully, no one was hurt and the suspect was swiftly traced to a park area where he was handcuffed and arrested. Then at 4 PM the violence continued after trouble sparked between 2 occupants of 2 cars. It was said that one of the men had been stabbed in the neck and arm after a fight had broken out at the junction between Poplar Road and Stratford Road. Emergency services rushed to the scene and the victim was taken to hospital, where it's been said that his injuries were not serious and an investigation has been launched. And the final incident took place less than an hour later, where a man was found slumped on the roadside with a stab wound to his chest. Officers were called after the victim collapsed at the side of Bristol Road shortly before 5 PM. He was taken to hospital for his injuries, and in this last attack, unfortunately, this man was pronounced dead at around 6:15 PM. A woman aged 28 and a 15-year-old schoolgirl were arrested at the scene and currently remain in police custody. In the early hours of this morning, police would go on to arrest 3 men at 3 separate addresses in Nottingham, and the men aged 22, 30 and 40 were being transported to the West Midlands for questioning over this incident. Detective Inspector Stu Moberly, who's leading the investigation, said, "We've made rapid progress overnight, having worked with colleagues at Nottinghamshire Police to arrest 3 men we believe were involved in the stabbing. Our inquiries continue and we are actively seeking at least one other person." So now that lockdown is easing up, it seems as if violent crime is on the rise once again, especially in Birmingham. Now, I don't know if you guys know this, but it was only less than 2 weeks ago that within the space of 14 hours, 4 people had been shot on separate occasions in Birmingham, and police believed that this was criminals back to settling scores with each other. And only a few months ago, I covered some stories in Birmingham, which we've seen multiple people shot in separate shootings. In regards to these recent stabbings though, I'm unsure if they're connected to those recent shootings, but what I do know is that these stabbings didn't even take place down side streets or quiet areas. They were said to have taken place in some of Birmingham's busiest streets. Now, I'm not from Birmingham, but if any of my viewers are from there, then you'll know, like it's being reported, that Bristol Street, Stratford Road and Great Hampton Street are all said to be some of Birmingham's busiest streets. So violent crime to be happening there throughout the morning isn't looking too good, I can't lie. I do want to give a shout out to the shopkeeper for keeping his cool though, because that situation could have ended up pretty deadly for him and others if the guy knew that he was on the phone to the police. And it's quite confusing to think why a knife man threatening to kill people would go into a shop to purchase a drink, but I guess he was just thirsty. Even though multiple knife incidents did take place though, with of course 6 people getting stabbed, fortunately everyone survived apart from one, and of course as more information emerges about that situation, I'll be sure to let you guys know on that one. And I do want to take this time out just to say rest in peace to the man who passed away. But moving on to our next story, and it seems as if a police officer has been stabbed after officers were called to an address in Harefield. At 2:40 AM this morning, that being the 23rd of August 2020, officers were called to reports of a disturbance on Dovedale Close in Harefield. When officers arrived, they could hear a disturbance coming from inside the premises. A man opened the door, armed with a knife, and was threatening officers. He then stabbed one of the officers in the arm and was then tasered before being arrested. The officer was taken to hospital where he was treated, and it was said that his injuries were non-life threatening. A 34-year-old man was arrested for assault on emergency service worker, causing grievous bodily harm and affray, and he remains in police custody at the current time. The police would put out a statement regarding that situation which said these officers were courageous and extremely lucky that they were able to walk away from this incident with minimal injuries. This is an example of the dangers that our officers face whilst doing their role as police officers. Now, I just want to put this question forward to you guys. In this situation, of course, the officer was injured and the taser was used. In America, of course, they use live ammunition. Do you think in situations like these, UK police would be better off having live firearms rather than tasers? Or do you think, just like in this case, the officer survived, so a taser is the right way to move forward with that? Which moves us on to our next story, which has gone viral on Twitter over the past couple of days, and it's being said that this happened in Peterborough.
Got camera.
Yo, get out from there, man. You got problem. Get out from the fucking car. Get out. Why don't you get the car, bro? Come on, come on. Basic. Trying to come like the pro fight. Come fight me, you.
Oh, yeah.
So there's been no reports covering this situation, but from looking at the surrounding area, it does seem as if this had happened on Taverners Road, just off Borges Boulevard roundabout in Peterborough. Again, I'm unsure what's happened because the video is out of context and the police haven't made a comment on this, but as soon as one comes out, I'll be sure to let you guys know. It's strange because time and time again I'm seeing these incidents pop up on Twitter, and when I go to check the comments, people are atting the local police for that area, but it just seems as if maybe they're not investigating what's going on, or at least they haven't came out publicly to tell people what's going on, which I personally think isn't great for the local communities because it's always best to inform them of what's going on in their local areas. With this video though, it is weird how it has over 1 million views and the guy went literally flying into the air and the police haven't came out to make a comment yet, and I'm unsure whether it's even being investigated. But again, if I do find out, I'll be sure to keep you guys updated on this situation. But let me know what you guys think of this in the comment section below. Give the video a little like, and if you want the latest drill, street and music news out of the UK, be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. It's been your boy Huncho, and I'm out.